Good morning. Today is a full Good morning. Today is going to be a full focus day, and I love this type of creator days because that's when I get the most things done. And today's main focus of work will be actually to create the email automation. So basically, I'm going to create an email sequence with different types of advice and tips and basically ways to improve the learning experience for all our students. And the reason why I'm doing it as an email sequence is because we have literally thousands of students per year that are enrolling. So it's really not possible to have like direct one-on-ones with everyone. So I wanted to find a way to deliver some additional value, which was like more individualized and customized, but in a scalable way. So that's gonna be a focus for today. And as I said, I love creator days because I feel the best when I create stuff versus when I have to manage some small things and put out some small fires. And that's why I was actually thinking to hire a COO, which is a Chief Operating Officer, basically someone who will manage all the administrative things, all the small to-dos, manage currently the entire team that we have, like support engineers, customer service, and so on. Because honestly, I cannot be bothered to do all this administrative, operational, small stuff anymore. And it's also not something that I'm good at. I'm really good at what I do, which is creating, engineering trainings, creating unique, valuable content, and everything else that comes after that, the small administrative parts of running the business, I believe it should be outsourced to someone who can do that much better than I do. And also someone whose sole responsibility and focus will be that area instead of me just doing multiple things at once. It's important to know your strengths and weaknesses because you should be doubling down on the things that you are really good at. So if you identify this is your talent, this is something that you're good at, and at the same time enjoy doing, then you should be doing 10 times more of that. And anything else that either you don't enjoy or it doesn't generate as much value, you should delegate it to others. You should hire people as soon as you can to take over these type of tasks. And that's why our very first employee hire was actually executive assistant, and she's taking over, 100,000 small annoying things that I would not want to do, or I would probably be spending like hours of doing, and this is absolutely wasted time when I know I can be doing something else which is much more valuable for our audience, for our customers, and also I enjoy doing much more. So hello. All right. Now the plan is to go to the office after my pretty short morning routine, which is I just grab coffee or water in the morning and read 10 pages. Why 10 pages? Because it's actually doable, it's pretty fast, especially if I'm thinking already about starting the work. And I also found as an added benefit, when I read 10 pages of a business book, a personal development book or whatever, it actually triggers and stimulates my mind because reading about inspiring stories of people or businesses, companies, or learning about a new insight about business, about success, personal development, growth, it really, gives you that additional kick of motivation for the day. So I found it actually really valuable and really stimulating in the morning. And also, just like with any habit, because you're doing it consistently every single day, it actually adds up. Like even if it's just 10 pages every day, it just adds up over a few weeks or a few months. So you end up reading a couple of books, which otherwise you would never probably be able to find time for, which was my case because I ordered literally like hundreds of business books and I was never able to find time to read them because I was always busy with other stuff. So, right at the beginning, 10 pages, and basically keeps this habit consistent. So now let's go to the office, or let's walk to the office and get started with the work. Okay, so today's main focus that I'm going to be working on is going to be an email sequence for our students, for our DevOps Bootcamp students. And this is basically to make their learning experience and progress, because it's a 6-month program actually, to make the entire process much easier and much more enjoyable for them, and also much more valuable. So basically I planned a sequence of around 11 ideas or so. So this is the detailed plan, including the tracking, and this is basically the part that I'm going to be focusing on today. So this is a sequence of emails that we're going to send in an automated way to all the students. So as soon as they enroll, they get a welcome email that has a video from me, basically where I go and break down the learning plan for them. Because when you commit to a few months of a bootcamp, you have to have some self-discipline to go through it and to learn, right? And it's really difficult because especially if you have, our engineers are usually working full-time. So, learning these advanced engineering skills on the side, it could be challenging. So basically, we want to make this entire process much easier for them, giving them tips, giving them a custom learning schedule, giving them some extra motivation to keep learning, additional tips of how to prepare their resume, additional tips on how to prepare for interviews for this specific role, as well as how to prepare like this whole demo project repositories. So a lot of additional valuable and informative emails plus motivational ones. And the main purpose of this is obviously to improve the experience of our students even more, and also to make sure that those people, because we have around 900 to 1,000 students per year that enroll in this program, and my personal goal or my personal desire is for majority of those people who enroll to also finish the program, so actually stick to it for the entire 6 months or whatever time they need. And that means, encouraging their progress, encouraging them to, stay on top of it, to stick to learning and so on. So this is going to be the main outcome, because I know that the happier the students are, the happier the customers are, the more value they get out of our program, the more they're going to be spreading the word around about our program. They're going to be giving awesome feedback. They're going to be just happy. They're going to be enrolling in our follow-up advanced program. So basically offering the highest value, the best experience to customers always pays off long-term. We actually have a type form at the beginning of the program to ask people where they actually came from, or how they got recommended, or how they decided to enroll in the bootcamp. And around 35% of the people who filled out the form said that a friend or a work colleague recommended our DevOps bootcamp. 35% of the people came from like word of mouth, literally someone telling them, hey, I did this program and it was awesome, you should definitely enroll. This is amazing. Like, this is probably one of the best KPIs that you can have in regards to how happy your customers are. So this is going to be to make it even better, to make the number even higher. And I'm going to be working on this specific part. And this is going to be another very important piece of this whole thing, which is going to be another email sequence for potential students who showed interest in our programs. And we're going to send them again an automated email sequence, which is going to be valuable, informative content with the CTA to enroll in our bootcamp. So we're going to be showing some demos, sneak peeks and snippets out of our program, like what they're learning, what they're building, what are they going to be able to do by the end of the bootcamp, how we help them with their career to, switch to this new role, to get paid higher, blah, blah, blah. So basically, this is going to be like a sales email series, but every single sales email is going to have value packed information inside, because that's the best sales. Like, when you actually deliver value to someone who is potential customer and show them what type of information, what type of value you're providing. So value upfront, value after, like the full cycle basically. So this is going to be another task that I planned in to do either end of this week, and a lot of this is going to be videos where I am actually talking into the camera and explaining this stuff. They're going to be, and they have to be, extremely valuable. Now, one point I wanted to mention here is that a lot of people would look at this kind of breakdown of tasks and they would turn it into a full-blown project that lasts for weeks or months even. For us, when I look at this detailed outline, so basically if I have an idea then I map out a detailed execution plan, and I ask myself, how can I execute this within 5 days? How can I get everything on this list done in 5 days? How can we do that? And sometimes it is an overreach because just the amount of work involved is really high, but having this urgency in execution always makes you much more productive. And Nikki actually shares the same type of mindset in this regard, because anytime we have an idea that we know is gonna very positively impact our business, either improve our fulfillment or improve our marketing or improve our branding, whatever it is, if we believe that this idea is actually gonna be positive for our business, if we have that conviction, then there's none of us have the patience to sit around and wait until that idea becomes reality. We literally sit down, we take 1 or 2 days to create a detailed outline of how to execute that sometimes ambitious idea. And in that detailed planning, we also identify any kind of risks, something that may take more time or something that we haven't thought about it. And then as soon as we have the detailed plan, we plan in the following 2 to 3 days to just commit to execution. And then we sit down literally every single day and just hammer at it until we get it done. And sometimes it is really, as I said, it is a lot of effort, and sometimes we spend 13 to 14 hour days just working on this one task. But at the end, once it's done and executed, and again, we believe that this is going to have a positive impact on our business, we're actually happy and feel super accomplished that we got it done. And I also feel like I just, bought back some time because we were able to do it in 1 week instead of 1 month. So I feel like we just, freed up 3.5 weeks that we can now use for other projects. So I plan to do 8 of these emails today. And then I'm going to do a handover to Nikki so that we can actually schedule all this for tomorrow. And then that part will be done, which is a pretty large part actually. So it's going to be a lot of work. And then I'm going to plan in to do this one. And with this, we're going to have an automation of valuable, amazing emails, marketing and fulfillment emails that are going to go to tens of thousands of our contacts in our email list. So this will have a huge impact, I know for sure. And that motivates me to do that in such a short time. So now back to my desk and let's get to work. So one of the most important elements in successfully completing the DevOps Bootcamp may be having an individualized learning schedule. So it's very important to understand this, that CI/CD is actually a backbone of DevOps, and knowing Kubernetes will just put you in another category of DevOps engineers, and that's why you enrolled in this bootcamp, to learn the skills that many other engineers and even DevOps engineers actually do not have. So you get this competitive advantage and you have the skills that are extremely valuable and highly effective. All right, I am actually done, at least with the first work session, and I wrote scripts for all the emails, actually 7 of them, because one of them was ready already. And honestly, I am extremely happy about the quality of those scripts. So every single video is actually like its own piece of content that our students are gonna be getting continuously, actually on a weekly basis, and every one of them has like value packed inside, but I also managed to write them not only in just informative way, but also, with little lightness and humor, as well as some motivation, because, when you have to learn for 6 months, you definitely need some motivation. It was one of those days where the creative juices were flowing, because with creativity, you never know. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. So I was actually in a pretty creative mode, and I'm really happy about the scripts, how they turned out. So they're all prepared, and I needed a break because I'm a little bit tired. I'm actually pretty tired, because writing 7 different video scripts is no joke, especially if you want the quality to be really high. And as I said, these are the emails for existing students. So they will go out to thousands of people, which means I definitely want the quality to be high. But the work is not done yet. I'm actually gonna have to record all those videos and prepare them into email structure. That's what I'm gonna do in the second part of the day. Right now it's around 4 p.m. so I still have a couple of hours. I wanted to take a break and walk a little bit, because I've been sitting for the last I don't know how many hours, and get a little bit sun, because I need to recover and regain some energy. I knew this is going to be a challenging task to prepare all of those emails in one day and to also record them, but I can handle it. I can manage it. So after that, I'm going to have an evening session with Nikki, maybe like 1 hour or so, where I'm going to do a handover, meaning I'm going to present her all the emails that are prepared, basically all the videos that are recorded, and the email outlines for them, and she's gonna integrate them into MailChimp, and she's gonna prepare the emails in MailChimp, including the links of the videos, as well as review what I have prepared. She's gonna do all of that tomorrow, and I'm gonna be helping her out with all the automations and tracking and all this good stuff. Because if you're not tracking your marketing, fulfillment, whatever business activities, then you don't know what to optimize and whether you have any issues or everything is running perfectly. Like, you don't know what's going on. So tracking and analytics is extremely important part. And even if I have to track thousands of data points manually, just like entering that manually into a Google Sheets, then I would do it. But fortunately, there are a lot of automation tools that do most of the job, not perfectly 100%, but most of the job. So we're going to be setting them up and using, and yeah, that's going to be the whole work focus for tomorrow. So the work continues. And also I wanted to mention one thing, which is not only was I excited that I was producing and writing those valuable, awesome emails, because I felt good about my writing skills and creativity, but most importantly because I know for sure, like 100% that this is gonna improve our already amazing DevOps Bootcamp, because I know hundreds of our students actually kind of love those email series or video series, and they're going to be extremely appreciative of them, which is something like over-delivering, because we don't promise any of this in our marketing pitch. So I know for sure we're going to have a lot of happier customers once we set it up. So that is even more motivating. Let's go for a walk and then back to work again. Back home, and I actually booked home office space for today evening as well to work there with Nikki. So it's basically the space in our house, and we're gonna be working maybe an hour or so on planning how we're gonna automate the emails for tomorrow. So basically integrate everything in MailChimp, which we use as email and CRM system. And then we're going to be doing some basic automation with Google Sheets and kind of tracking the whole data there. So I'm doing kind of like a handover to Nikki. Also about the videos that I scripted today for the emails, I actually was not able to record all of them because they turned out to be much more work and much more effort than I expected. I mean, I did expect it to be a lot of effort, but I was up for a challenge. I still have to record the last 2 videos, but the rest of them are ready, and I'm going to be recording them first thing in the morning so that tomorrow we still manage to hit our target of setting up the entire email sequence and then releasing it, or basically starting the automation to start sending it to our students one by one. So I think we're still gonna manage it. It's almost 7 p.m., so we're gonna do a little bit more work and then have dinner and then just prepare for tomorrow. Oops.
Let me in. Let me in.
Apparently, our assistant forgot to book us the office space for today evening, so we're not getting in. Okay, diese Scripts habe ich vorbereitet und habe ich ein paar Videos aufgenommen im Loom. Im Grunde geht es darum, das ist die Reihenfolge. Da sind die E-Mails, also wöchentliche E-Mails über 8 Wochen verteilt. Das Welcome-E-Mail, das ist eigentlich, was wir schon haben, das ich aufgenommen habe. Das wird sofort nach dem Enrollment ausgeschickt. Das habe ich gescriptet, das ist gescriptet und aufgenommen. Das ist eigentlich schwierigste und wichtigste Teil von dem, weil es geht um Custom Study Schedule und wir machen so einen Vorschlag. Custom Study Schedule. Also die kriegen von uns so eine Guideline von wie die also wir sagen, okay, wenn du 6 Monate als Ziel nimmst, wie kannst du deine Woche aufteilen, damit du sozusagen das schaffst. Innerhalb von 27 Wochen sind das 6 Monate. Good morning, another day, another set of goals that we need to accomplish today. So once I have my morning coffee, we're gonna start the day by posting a social media post across all our accounts, which is going to be a blog article that describes basically one of the success stories of our program graduates, basically how this engineer advanced his career once he learned the things that we teach in our programs. We check in with our students, to get their feedback, and whenever, they write some super excited email, we obviously want to dig in and try to, ask much more deeper questions to really understand what the impact was there. And then sometimes we make video interviews or blog articles. It's actually a really important part of marketing as well, because it's much more impactful if someone else says that your product and service is amazing versus you telling the world how amazing your products and services are. And also to actually show the proof with backup story and examples. So that's what we call it, a success story series of our students. And we also invest a lot of time in writing this blog article, and then we share it basically across all social media, because there's somebody in the community who can directly identify with that specific person's or engineer's background story. It's like, yeah, that's exactly me. I'm a software engineer who has these and these goals, and I want to learn DevOps because of that. So it's always a higher chance because we have people with different backgrounds, and that's why we try to continuously, write this kind of blog articles and then share on social media for our community to see. And in the task, we also include a CTA basically, so call to action, to motivate people to do something, and that is going to be for people to basically sign up per email so that we have them in our email list, and then we can start sending them very important, valuable, informative content about the topic that they're interested in. And of course, with the selfish goal of eventually motivating them to do one of our programs. That's the funnel basically. And it works really well because we usually get hundreds of thousands of impressions on our social media accounts. And then, with the CTA, we get maybe a couple of hundred or sometimes 1,000 emails per post, and then we can basically retarget them, or we kind of keep delivering values to them. So at some point they build so much trust in the value that we provide that they actually become paying customers. And then eventually, because we deliver more and more value to the paid customers, they become loyal customers. So that's our task number 1. After that, I'm going to go to office and record the videos that I scripted yesterday that I wasn't able to record yesterday. So we have everything ready for email automation for our students. Nikki already started setting up and preparing everything in MailChimp so that we can launch the email automation so our students we'll start getting those emails, and I'm actually really looking forward to the feedback because I believe 100% that every one of those emails is actually gonna be so interesting and valuable for students that we're gonna start getting a lot of really good feedback on that. And people will start appreciating and saying that this is really helpful. So even more excited to launch it because I kinda already expect like positive results and feedback. I want to get it launched as soon as possible. Hopefully we can launch it by the end of today. If that's gonna be the case, we're definitely gonna celebrate with a nice dinner because you always have to reward yourself after accomplishing something which is really important, and that's why it's also important to proactively set goals instead of just reactively work on whatever tasks pop up that have some urgency, but you are in control of what gets done in which order. So yeah, I'm excited for today, full of energy, gonna get some more energy with coffee, and then we're gonna get started. Okay, so the work is done. The email sequence is scheduled, which means from now on, it's gonna automatically go to every new student in a pre-planned sequence, which is every week right now. And additionally, we're actually gonna send it to all our existing students because I want them to also get this new pieces of information and content because they have a lot of additional value and additional interesting information that they can use in their career. So obviously we want to send it to our existing students as well. Yeah, so this has been really busy last 3 days because we have been working really hard from, creating the entire crash course for YouTube as the next YouTube video to scripting all the videos for email sequence for our students and then recording them and then setting up email automation. And I'm happy actually that we did it in such a short period of time. Since we've been going at it really hard for the last 3 days, tomorrow I'm actually gonna take like a lighter work day. So I'm gonna be working a few hours in the morning, then I'm gonna be meeting a couple of friends. Maybe we're gonna go out for dinner. I even have a massage planned for tomorrow. And then Friday, all the way through the weekend, I'm gonna be working on the next part of this project, which is gonna be the sales email automation, which basically will be, again, an email sequence that has many valuable information, but this is going to be for potential students who are thinking about using our programs. So it will be kind of building that trust, delivering and providing as much value as possible upfront, because this is how we do things around here. Our entire YouTube channel is basically just providing value for free upfront, and some of the people in the community then put their trust in us and decide to enroll in our programs because they already know our quality, our style, and so on. So I'm really excited about that. And as part of the student email sequence, I also want to add 3 or 4 different videos as emails that are going to be interviews. So not just me speaking into the camera, but also industry experts like technology experts, senior engineers in respective fields, answering some questions that I prepare and basically giving students additional knowledge. And this is going to be really, really interesting because of 2 reasons. Because first of all, it gives us a huge credibility when we have senior engineers from popular technology companies that we actually provide trainings working or partnering with us and giving us some valuable information that we can pass on to our students. And on the other side, obviously, it's going to be huge value for the students who actually hear some of the insights from the developers of the technologies that they are learning. And for that, I actually have 3 popular tech companies in mind. One of them is AWS, which is Amazon's web services, and 2 other tech companies. And I'm actually gonna play my contacts here and reach out to some senior engineers at these companies that I already have contact with, because we have a little bit of a status with a lot of tech companies because they know our content, and a lot of the engineers, they are fans of our Tech for Banana YouTube channel. So reaching out to them and getting access to like top engineers is actually much more accessible for us than it could be for someone else. That means over the weekend, I'm also going to be preparing some interview questions, which should be actually a pretty easy task because I kind of have an idea of what type of content I want to create based on those interviews and what I want to get insights about from them. And then I'm going to reach out to all those companies and schedule interviews with them. And once we have that recorded, then we're going to do some kind of post-production and editing. And we're going to schedule that also in our student email sequence, which is going to be kind of a surprise to students because we're not going to pre-announce it. We're just going to do it as type of under promise, over deliver context. So we're going to be just basically sending them those emails out of the blue. So it's a nice surprise and additional value as always. So all of these things are in pipeline and need to be done. And I'm actually excited to work on every single one of those projects because it just much more fun to work on things where you know that they are going to have a huge impact for your business, for your customer happiness, the delivery. It just makes things better, makes the processes better, makes your overall service and product better. It's just much more motivating to work on things like that. When you know already ahead of time that they are going to have positive impact. So you kind of have that guarantee or that sense that it's going to work out well. So yeah, that's the plan for the next few days. And this is also end of this vlog, which means I will update you guys on how things are going and what we're doing in the next vlog. So if you don't want to miss it, then make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified about the new video. So I'll see you in the next one.